Hey all, Board Game Rants here, where you'll find everything solo, tabletop gaming, and more. Here is a game called Innovation, an older game. This is a fan-made solo variant, and it has stood the test of time. Gotta check it out. Here we go. Okay, a little bit better lighting here. The shot you saw before was me finishing up a game, and I lost. I actually tied the AI, and so what you're going to be doing here, this is just, first of all, I got to say, this is just a remarkable solo game. It's brilliant. It was done, so your Innovation came out like 2010, I think is when it came out. And this solo variant, fan-made solo variant by BGG user GameRulesforOne. I have mentioned this individual in a couple of previous videos. He was making solo variants before solo gaming was like even a thing. And I am so thankful because I have been playing games solo and looking for ways to play games solo for, I don't want to say how long time. Anyway, and I came across this, and it is one of the most fascinating, well done solo variants that's just out there. And you'll see, I'm going to kind of demo it here in a second so you can see if maybe this is something you'd be interested in. Innovation is a card game. It is a civilization building game where you'll build your tableau of cards here. And then based on what you have out there, the top cards on your stacks are actions that are available to you. And then depending on the symbols on those cards, that's going to determine, what you have to pay to take that action, which this board is going to help you with. Also, it's going to determine if the AI gets to take advantage of some of your actions, because if they're just as strong or stronger than you in a certain symbol, then they get to partake. But if you're sharing actions, that actually can be a good thing. You're going to work your way from the prehistory age all the way up to the information age there. And during this time, your board is going to build, and you're building your board in order to be able to score cards. And with those cards that you score, you're going to be able to purchase cards out here as achievements. So these cards represent a couple different things. First, they're just stacks of 1s, 2s, 3s. They're the stacks of their ages of cards that you have available to draw, etc. Then, and if you get one of these cards and you score it, it's going to go over to the left of your little player aid here, and it's going to be a score used to basically purchase achievements. You'll put those cards back up here, and you'll take cards and you'll put them on this side of your board. And when they're on this side of your board, they actually count for something. They actually count for points. And you'll also be able to get these special achievements depending on how you build your tableau. You'll be able to get those special achievements and score those as well. And if you beat the score that you are going to have a hand in developing, the AI is right now, you have to beat a score of 0. I'm sure you can do that. And as the game progresses, though, these little markers are going to move up and down this track. And as they move up this track, you don't want them to get too far up the track, because once they do, and they're going to start crossing these action score lines, and that's what's going to trigger this cube moving up, and it's going to increase the score that you have to beat just to win the game. And so when these get way high up, it's going to increase it by 1 once it passes this line, 2 if a cube passes this line, 3 if it passes, So you want these, however, to go up, but you want to balance that with the cards that you play. You're gonna pay with depending on where these are at, you're gonna pay for your actions that you'll have on your board, and you'll be able to scooch those cubes down. So they're gonna go up and down. They're gonna go up as cards are played with those symbols on them, and then they're gonna go down as you pay those symbols to take the actions. So there's this total balancing. This is the sweet spot. You kind of want them in here, and by the end of the game, you want them way up here, but without having crossed that action score line and increasing, because this cube's going to be going up, and you don't want to have to beat too high of a score. But at the end of the game, if you manage to win, if you manage to score more points than that gets to, then you get to find out how you did based on your lowest cube. Is going to determine if you have a functional society, a stable society, a rudimentary society, a dynamic society. And I think there's another thing. It'll kind of determine the level of your victory, which is very cool. So let's just kind of get into it, and I can show you a little bit how you play this game. It actually sets up in minutes. There is a stack of cards over here that I took out, and basically I took out 3 1s, 2 2s, 2 3s, 2 4s, 2 5s, 2 6. So you get it 3 from this stack, and then 2 from all the rest, and just randomly. And those are not going to be in this game. So there's always going to be a couple cards that you're not going to have available, and you never know which one. So it mixes it up a bit, and that is what sets up your game. Aside from some of these cubes, and I made these cubes, by the way. Well, the cubes, I didn't make the cubes. These are generic wooden cubes. And then when you print out the rules to play innovation here, the solo play rules, it has this page that you'll print out and cut out. And it also has these little things that you can print and cut out and glue to generic cubes. I did it. It's awesome. It just makes everything feel so freaking official. I love it. Anyway, let's get into playing this game so you can just see how it goes, how the flow goes, and see if maybe it's something you want to pick up. I also have the ancient version of Innovation. I think this is version 1. There's a 3rd version out now that looks, more modern, if you will. So let's get to it. When you start playing, you just draw 2 cards, 2 number 1 cards. And then I have to play one of these. So I look at them. And let's say I want to play me some sailing. So one of the actions you can take is melding a card, and that is basically put it up. Now it's part of your tableau. So I have to move. I have to look at the action next to it, that symbol, the crown symbol there. I have to move it up. Normally you have the option as the player whether you want to move it up or not, but not in the beginning of the game. I have to move it up. Now the AI starts, their turn starts. You just flip over a card. You move up that particular symbol next to the action. That is a leaf symbol. And now to determine officially who goes first, so that's starting setup to determine who goes first in alphabetical order, clothing, sailing, clothing goes first. And normally you get to take 2 different actions on your turn, but the very, very first one, you only get to take 1 action. When the AI does it, they just look, they're going to have, eventually they'll have 5 different colors out here because there's 5 different colors of cards. You look at whatever card is on top that has the highest number is the stack it'll draw from. And that'll be the same for you too. So it'll take this one, and if it's the same color, puts it right over it. But it's not. This is blue. So it's going to go right there. And then, like I said, I have to, whenever the AI melds a card out here, you have to move up that symbol. And so that is another leaf symbol. So there we go. And it is taking its 1 action. Normally it would basically draw another card and do that again, and then it'd be done. But the very, very, very first turn, that's it. So now I get to go and I get to take 2 actions. So I'm looking at sailing here. Draw and meld a 1. So if I wanted to take this action, I would have to pay 2 crown symbols and a leaf symbol. Right now, these all the way, by the way, should be scooched up to there. There we go. These are at the 0. Now we're talking. So essentially, this is, the leaf is at 2 and the crowns is at 1. There we go. Now, if I wanted to take this, I'd have to spend 2 crowns and 1 leaf. Well, there's only 1 crown and 2 leaves. So what I could do is I could spend one of my actions and move up either one of these that's on my tableau up 2 spaces. So I can move up 2 crowns or 2 leaves, or I can move up a crown and a leaf. So why don't I do that? I'll show you how it goes. So I'll take that action. That is specific to the solo variant, by the way. And so I'm going to move up a leaf, and I'm going to move up a crown. So that's my first action. And now I'm going to take this action. Now, when you take an action, you have to pay attention to the action you're taking, its symbol next to it. And it is crowns, because if the AI has just as many crowns as you, it gets to share in the action. Well, it has right now a crown right there, and then you have to add the number that the little cube is on, which is a 2. So it has crowns, it essentially has 3 crowns to my 2. So it has more crowns than me, so it is going to get to share in this action. So I have to spend the 2 crowns and the 1 leaf, scooch those down, but it gets to do this action first. So it's going to draw and meld a 1. So it's going to draw this. It's a purple card. It's going to go off to the side. It's going to go up 1 on the crown track. Always does. Now I get to go, but because it's shared in my action, I'm going to get to draw an extra card. You'll see that in a second. First, I get to take this action, draw and meld a 1. That means basically draw and play a 1. If it was green, I'd have to cover this up, and now that action is no longer available. It would be the card on top that's available. It's only the card on top that you can do its actions, but you'll see these start to stack up, or sometimes you'll be tucking cards underneath. So here's City States. Draw and melded that. Now I can choose if I want to go up crowns. Sure, I'll go up 1 on the crowns. I don't have to, but I'm going to because I want to build these up so that I can spend them to take the actions. But I don't want to let them get out of hand because, again, once you start getting too high up, it's going to increase the score over here. So that was my second action. And now it's the AI's turn. So here we go. AI draws a card. After looking, again, it only has ones. It only has ones up there. So then it draws a card. This is yellow. So it's just going to go and start another stack. And it's going to move up on the castle track. And there's the castle. And that was its first action. And it's going to do it again. The blue card is going to cover up pottery, and it's going to move up on the light bulb track. Okay, back to my turn. And I've got domestication. I want to keep putting out cards. I'm going to meld this. I'm going to play it because I want to increase my strength in symbols. And I can move up 1 on the castle track. I will do it. So that was my first action. Now let's see here. Do I want to? This costs 2 castles and a crown, which I do have available to me. I could do this action. I could do actually all these actions here. So my first action was, again, to play this card now. Meld the lowest card in your hand. Draw a 1. I don't have a card in my hand, so that's not terrific. Draw and meld a 1. I could do that again. Demand. So if you ever do a demand, if you try to pull off a demand action, you have to have more symbols than your opponent. So in this case, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 crowns. The AI has 1, 2, 3, 4, but don't forget, it gets to add this plus 2, 6. So I couldn't demand this. And whenever you get to demand, it usually does something bad, takes points away or cards away and stuff. But can't do that. So I think I will, rather than just draw a card. Oh, you know what? And I was just saying, wasn't I just saying like, oh, I get to do a bonus thing when the AI shared in my action, I should have drawn an extra card. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to remember to do that this time. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So I have 5, and again, it has 6, so it's going to get to share in this action. First, I have to pay for it. 1, 2, and then a leaf. And then it's going to draw and meld a 1. Here's this blue. That goes there. And it's going to go up 1 on the light bulbs. And then now I get to go draw and meld a 1. It is a pink card. Excellent. I get to start a new stack here. And doing that, I can, if I want, move up on the castle track. I think I will. And then now, because it's shared, if I didn't share it, I wouldn't get to do this. But because it's shared, I get to draw a card as a bonus. And I should have done that last time. Did I last time? I have a short memory span. So I took advantage of it officially this time. So that was my second action. And now it's back to the AI. So now what happens is it's got all 1s up on the top of his board. It draws this 1. And so here's a cool thing. So this is pink. So these are the 5 colors. All 5 colors are represented up here now. Ors. So I have to move up on the castle track. But instead of having to draw another card and doing the same thing, because it has a second symbol available, I can just have it move up on that second symbol, and then its turn is done. And I think I'm going to do that because there's no crowns here. So I'm just going to do that. Otherwise, it would draw another 1 and do what it did its first action. But because there is no 1, it just goes to the next highest level. So it would have drawn a 2. I don't want it to draw 2s. I want the 2s. It's going to get 2s anyway. But I want also more time. And this is kind of a time, ticking bomb here as this goes all the way down. And eventually, if someone's down at this 10 and has to draw at 11, quote unquote, then the game's over. And there's also actions on here on certain cards that can end the game. And so there's a couple ways that the game can end, and ultimately then you get to score and see how you did, if you managed to win or not. And let's get into some more of this game, and I'll probably show you a little bit more involved board here. In this case, I've got philosophy here. I'd have to pay 3 light bulbs, which I've got over here. And you'd want to check first. It's 1, 2, plus 3 is 5. So the AI has 5 light bulbs. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 myself, but the AI doesn't do anything with this card. So I'm not going to get to share it. I don't get to draw any extra cards. I spend the 3 light bulbs, and it says you may splay left any one color of your cards. This is a big part of the game, is splaying, because once you start splaying cards, anywhere where I have more than 1 card, now I can splay 1 stack of my cards. So this is just 1, this is just 1, this is just 1, so it wouldn't do me good. Once you start splaying them, as you can see, it starts to expose symbols underneath the cards. So now this action of that card, it never does you any good, but the symbols under it start adding up to the total you get to count for. And eventually, then you'll start splaying to the right, where you have a good opportunity of exposing more symbols that strengthen your society. And then eventually you have the opportunity of splaying up, and that is the most advanced one, where you can just get stacks splayed up and tremendous strength that way. But for now, I just got to splay left 1 color of my cards. I'm picking purple, and then I can score a card from my hand. I'm going to go ahead and score this 3. I've already got a score over here of 2 plus 2. I've got 7 points now, and pretty soon I'm going to be able to pick up a achievement. So here's a fun one to show you, Reformation. You may tuck a card from your hand for every 2 leaves on your board. So I've got the 3 leaves that I pay. I already know the AI doesn't get to do anything in this case. And I tuck a card. You may tuck a card from your hand for every 2. So I could tuck 3 cards. 1, 2, 3 cards. So when you tuck, you actually just take it, and without affecting the stack you're doing, whatever you're doing with it, in this case it stays splayed left, I get to tuck that card, and now I have another symbol to work with there. With this one, green, same thing. I get to tuck this card, so it goes underneath, and now factory symbols are starting to come out because we're in age 4. And then I'm going to go ahead and tuck this one, but this one isn't splayed, so it's just going to go straight under it like that. And then it says you may splay your yellow or purple cards right. Well, now that this card has a card tucked under it, I could splay this to the right. However, and now I've got a couple more leaf symbols, but right now it seems like the better thing to do, the more powerful thing to do, would start splaying this to the right. So I'm going to put this here, and then it goes like that, and like that, and like that. Well, it wasn't all that, because these symbols just turned out, those are nothing. Those are just represent, like philosophy has this little glass. This symbol represents city states. This symbol represents enterprise. They're meaningless for gameplay, but so it may have been the better thing for me to do, is wait until I can splay these up. But sometimes cards will say, oh, once you have any cards you have splayed right, you can now splay up. So I'm going to leave this as is for now. So here we go. We're going to start getting interesting here. I'm going to take this action. He definitely beats me in clocks. So I'm going to spend the 2 clocks and the 1 factory, and he gets to take the action first. Return all cards from your hand, then draw 3 6s. So this is how I'm going to get some of these cards here back out so that I can purchase them with my scorecards as achievements. But it's going to give him a lot of points. You'll see how it looks here. So there it is. Put out the cards that were here, put them back in place. So now I can purchase these as achievements. But then he got to draw and score 3 6s. Well, just draw 3 6s. But this basically counts as the AI's draw and score all at the same time. And so scored a lot of points there I might pay for. But now I have a chance to finally purchase some achievements here and continue to score points. So in order to achieve this 5, I have to spend 5 times it in score. So 25 points, which I've got here. I've got 10, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. I'm going to return all these out to play and score this, leaving me with 2 whole points. And after all is said and done, the AI scored 13 and I scored 18. So for that margin, it was a 5-point margin, then I get to rate my game. I got 3 points for that rating, which is a middle rating. And then with that 3 points, I add where I reached the lowest cube here on my society here. For a strong society, I score 4 more points. So 4 plus 3, not really points, but 4 plus 3, 7 is my rating. And 7, according to the rules here, is a culture. That's what I was actually saying. Those last numbers were my culture score. It says 6 to 7 is met with raised eyebrows and a warm handshake. You passed. So not fantastic, but at least I won, and I didn't get the lowest rating. But 8 to 9, of course, is better, and 10 is the best. And that's it. That is Innovation, a solo adaptation of Innovation as done by GameRulesforOne. I highly recommend it. It is ahead of its time. This design and the way this plays is something to marvel at, because no one was doing stuff like this back then. So there you have it on Board Game Rants. I appreciate you watching. Maybe this is worth your while and picking up. Easy enough to find. Pretty cheap little game. Great game. I'm out.